Just do me a favor and let me know you can hear me. So here I am, and I wanted to take time. I know it's late on a Sunday evening or whenever you're going to watch this on the replay, but I'm going live, as have many other people recently, to bring a sense of calm and common sense and uncommon sense to the situation that we have currently going on. Firstly, I want to acknowledge a lot of good people who are out there who are taking time to spread wisdom. There are a lot of healers, a lot of coaches, and a lot of people just from every walk of life who are going live, going online, and they are sharing their own way and their own means of spreading wisdom and helping to bring calm and kindness out to the world out there. So I want to acknowledge all those people out there. And I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things that I think will be valuable as we get into the week ahead. I'm going to share three S's that I want all of us, and I hope all of us will start to embrace. And I want to encourage everyone to embrace as this week and as the weeks unfold and as we start to get deeper into this situation. I want to introduce these three S's tonight for all of you to start looking at and start to meditate upon as the week opens and unfolds, and start to see how you can embrace these three S's into your life. So I'll go to those three S's in a moment, but let me start by way of a short example of some things that have been happening in this week alone that I feel are very pertinent and led me to these three S's. Firstly, those of you who know me, you know I'm a big fitness guy. I'm into that sort of stuff. There are a lot of people out there, FitBanker and RNT Fitness, a lot of good fitness outfits out there. I'm also into my fitness. And today I had a day off. I didn't want to be in the gym, but I came to know there was a gathering of elders today. So this was an elder support group, people who are elderly and who are concerned about the virus. There was a special gathering in a confined but not dangerous area that was taking place. So I decided to go in, even though it wasn't my own training day, and have a participation into what was going on there. And I wanted to contribute something. So when I was down there, I saw some really good people giving talks about how to take preventative measures and practical tips on how to be safe with this virus for the elderly. And so I went down to share and teach them some basic pranayam. Pranayam means yogic breathing. It's ancient breathing techniques that can be used. And so I spent some time training some of these elderly people in how to use breathing techniques to improve our respiratory function, to increase our breathing capacity and our breathing capability. So we are better able to keep our respiratory area functioning better, and obviously use that as an effective countermeasure to avoid getting this virus. So this happened during the day, and this amount of satisfaction I got from people who felt so grateful that they were given that time, that they were shown something that they could use, not just by myself, but by the other facilitators, really made me feel something that I couldn't put money on. You know, it was such a great feeling. So it was great to share and give something selfless out to these individuals and spend some time. The second thing that happened, which I wanted to relay to all of you, is one of my friends got in touch. He's in touch with one of my clients, one of my coaching clients from last year. And he said the coaching client and him were catching up. They must have had a catch up. And he said he's so glad that he did the coaching, because last year I worked with him on simplification and finding ways to simplify his life and simplify his expenses and the amount of things he had going on. And he said as a result, he said he became so good at simplifying his needs and becoming more efficient in the way he lived his life that he's now managed to save up enough money to look after himself, his mom, and people he cares about during this difficult time. He's actually managed to stockpile some funds, and he got really clever at squirreling away foods and stuff like that. So he's better prepared. So simplifying his life last year through the coaching that I took him through has resulted in something that's equipped him to be better capable of handling what's coming over the coming weeks. The third incident I want to relate to you is I lost my spiritual mentor, one of my most significant spiritual mentors this week. So his name is Shruti Dharma. Many of you may know him. He is the president of ISKCON UK, an incredible personality, loved and honored by many people in many faiths and no faiths for that matter. And he played a big part in my life, in my spiritual and personal growth. And we sadly lost him earlier in this week. He departed, he left his body. And it gave me a stark realization about the fragility of life, as it does for any of us who lose a loved one, right? And what it also did, though, is open the idea of how to live in such a way that we have a glorious death. You see, his passing away was glorious. He was surrounded by people he loved. He was surrounded by transcendental sound vibrations in the form of mantras. It was an auspicious day, spiritually speaking. And he passed away at a temple. So he passed away in the most conducive circumstances with his friends and loved ones and family. And to me, that's a glorious passing away. Not only was his departure glorious, but what he accomplished in his life was glorious. And he lived his life very spiritually, very in touch with the divine and seeing the divine in everybody. And irrespective of their race, religion, faith, or culture, he saw the divinity in everyone. You know how we say namaste? He lived namaste. He lived that emblem, right? That motto of the divine in me honors the divine in you. And it really had a profound effect about the need, I think, for all of us to embrace a more spiritual, conscious-centered way of life, especially with what's going on. It helps us to start thinking about going inwards. And so having said that and having understood that, I wanted to share these 3 S's and introduce these to you. And they are as follows. And we'll go through these more as the week and the weeks unfold, but I want to introduce these 3 S's. The first S is simplification. Simplification in our lifestyle, in our wants, okay? The things that we want. Everybody wants stuff, but right now, aside from needing toilet roll and needing hand sanitizers, we still want stuff. We still want our TV watching. We still want our creature comforts. We still feel that our wants are actually needs, but when they're not, what we need and what we want are 2 different things. We often confuse those things and make our wants needs. And therein lies the slippery road to disappointment and attachment. And attachment leads to fear, leads to anger, leads to disillusionment. If you've heard Yoda and Star Wars, if you've read the Bhagavad Gita, you'll understand that there is a need for detachment and reducing our needs, or at least reducing our wants. And so this comes to the theme of simplification. For me, it's about simplifying our lives. For me, I've simplified it in several different ways, especially in the past few weeks in terms of my workout routines, in terms of the food I eat. I've kept it real simple. It's kind of becoming just khichdi. Those of you who know what khichdi is, it's just mung beans and rice combined together, boiled, and you just add different types of vegetables. So simplification is what I'm trying to convey here. Simplification in our lifestyle, in our wants, our activities, even our thinking. Simplification can extend to our thinking. A lot of us are still in this overwhelming thinking mindset because of our workloads, our extracurricular demands, our social activities. And yet, here we are, a virus has landed upon us that has descended, that almost forces us to simplify the amount of stuff we think about and really bring our brain into a more concentrated field of activity. And that's what this opportunity represents for us. So I want to invite you to embrace the idea of simplification, and we'll look at that during the week and the weeks ahead. The second S is spiritual growth. As I described in the example earlier, it's about recognizing that life is temporary. It's about recognizing our mortality, but then embracing our mortality, and yet recognizing our immortality. I'll say that again. It's about embracing our mortality and yet recognizing our immortality. This contradiction is powerful. It is about recognizing that contradictions exist, the dualities of life, good and bad, happiness and distress, honor and dishonor, loss and defeat, victory and gain. There are so many seemingly polar opposites in our lives. And yet, learning to identify, embrace these opposites, and then eventually transcending these opposites. Rising above these is the journey that spiritual life holds for us. It's the promise that spiritual life holds for us. And it doesn't have to be tied to a particular religion. It can be, but it is not necessarily to do with religion. If religion gives you a peace of mind and comfort, that's great. But this is not about just religion. This is about learning to embrace our spiritual nature, our non-material nature, recognizing that we are different from our mind. We're different from our thoughts, our emotions, and we're different from our ego. We are distinctly different from all of these. We are the observer. And learning to recognize that is part of the power that we can now start to harness and really start to reframe the way we look at our lives. This is part of the power that lies ahead for us and the journey that can start to unfold if we reframe what looks like a crisis into an opportunity for growth. So that's the second one. And again, we will explore spirituality, including the power of mantras and other modalities within the spiritual armory during the weeks ahead. The third S is selflessness, or you can call it selfless service. This is about focusing on our true self. Contrary to what it sounds, selflessness, it is about focusing on our true self. That is the self beyond the body, right? The true self. It ties with spirituality. And it also means focusing on helping others, focusing on people other than ourselves, finding ways to help people who need it, not only our immediate family who we would naturally look after as a given for most of us, but also those who are nearer from us. For a lot of us who live in these nuclear families, we may not be close to our parents right now physically. We may not be close to our loved ones because of how we're associated, how we're living at the moment. But we may be close to other people, friends, neighbors, strangers who need help. And so the third S about selflessness is about finding ways how we can use and share our resources, our physical resources, our financial resources, our human potential, even just our voice and our kindness, our words, to find ways to be selfless and to render service to people. Because you know what, folks? Service is the intrinsic dharma. It's the nature of every living entity, not just humans. Every creature is serving in some way. When I say it's serving, every creature is serving in some way. We're serving our mind. We're serving our family. The president is serving the country or the nation. Our parents are serving us. We serve our children or our loved ones. Or we're serving our mind or our senses or our goals. But the tendency to serve is our intrinsic nature. It's our dharma. And so to learn to render service to others helps us to become aligned with our dharma. And the more aligned we are with that tendency to want to serve, the more we repose it in a more healthy and beneficial way. And the more we do that, the more we become aligned. The more we become aligned, biologically, we start to release positive hormones, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Some of these positive hormones start to get released and cortisol and stress levels start to come down. We actually manage through these three S's. I'll recap: simplification, spiritual growth, selflessness or selfless service. We can genuinely start to do two powerful things. One, reduce our stress levels and negative inducing hormones that cause problems for us. Two, we start to build and promote healthy hormones, conducive hormones like the ones mentioned, that can start to help increase our focus, increase our, as you know, increase our immunity. Our immune system builds as we release positive hormones and our stress levels go down. And thirdly, it starts to increase our capabilities. Our brain, our mind-body system starts to increase in its capacity and capability to deal with emotional challenges, physical challenges, and social challenges. So we start to build our resilience as well. So much benefit can come by embracing these three S's, and we'll elaborate on these, but I just wanted to share that with you and invite you to, I want to leave you with this. I want to invite you to consider that FOMO, You all heard of FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. FOMO. FOMO should now be replaced with Jogi. I call it Jogi. So FOMO becomes Jogi, Jogi, the joy of going inside. Let the fear of missing out be converted to the joy of going inside. That is going inside here, going inward within ourselves, and going inside physically, right? We're going to be contained. A lot of us will be self-isolated inside our homes, our premises, our residences. So let us start to embrace the joy, find joy within going inside and staying inside and going inward. Because by finding that, by introspective, I honestly believe that by introspecting, by working on our business instead of in our business, because that's what we're going to have to do. A lot of clients are going to go downhill. So we need to work on our business by focusing on fighting some of our inner demons maybe and helping other people deal with some of their challenges. We're going to grow as people individually, familially, communally, and ultimately nationally and globally. And that is the part that we can play in this world. So let's stop focusing on the fear and the FOMO, and let's start focusing on the Jogi and the 3 S's. I'm going to be looking forward to connecting, and I'll really look forward to sharing more with you as the weeks unfold. There are so many wonderful human beings doing this. I'd like to mention too, the amazing Sneha Ramji, of course, and the wonderful Rob Bruss, Amit Soda. There's so many others. We're going to be doing some stuff. We're going to be also embracing mantras, mantra therapy, the stuff that I've done for 10 years together online and trained in for so many more years. We'll start to use mantras to help heal us, and we'll start to use techniques that will bring urban spirituality to life in your life. So that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've liked it, all I ask is you like, comment, share, and put down if there is a particular area that you would like help with or you'd like for us to cover, or feedback on these 3 S's and how you're going to start to embrace them. And I will be back with you very soon with more. For now, let's all help common and uncommon sense go viral. That's it from me. Peace out.